So a very good afternoon to everyone. Sorry for the late starting of the program. So and very good afternoon to Miss Lim Chia Wei, who is our speaker for today, and all the attendees. Welcome to our second I Make You Item webinar series entitled Industrial Experience Oil and Gas Industries. First of all, I would like to thank you all for joining us for today. I hope you are all keeping well and safe wherever you are. My name is Hadi Afiq and I will be the moderator for today. To ensure a smooth run for the event today, please mute your mic and switch off your video camera during the webinar. You may turn on the camera after the Q&A session for photography session. If you have any questions, please drop in the question in the chat box and we will address them to the presenter during the Q&A sessions. Before we start our talk today, let us begin with the recitation of Dua that will be led by Muhammad Fahmi. So proceed, Muhammad Fahmi.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabbihi ajma'in. Allahumma innaka khalaqun azim, innaka sami'un alim, innaka ghafurur rahim, innaka rabbul arsyil azim, innakal barul jawadul karim. Ya Allah, Engkaulah yang mempunyai segala kepujian. Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kepujian. Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kesyukuran. Engkaulah yang memiliki segala pemerintahan, di tangan Engkau segala kebajikan, kepada Engkaulah kembali segala urusan. Allahumma ya Karim ya Rahim, cucurilah rahmat dan rahimmu ke atas majlis Industrial Experience Webinar Oil and Gas Industry yang diadakan pada hari ini. Berkatilah ia dari awal hingga akhirnya. Ya fa'alun lima yurid, kami juga memohon perlindungan daripadamu dari segala perkara yang boleh mencacat celakan majlis kami dan daripada segala perkara yang melalaikan kami dari berbuat taat kepadamu. Kepadamu juga kami serah segala urusan kami. Rabbana alaika tawakkalna wa ilaikal masir. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. Walhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Amin. Thank you to Muhammad Fahmi for the recitation of Dua just now. So without wasting our time, let's start our talk for today. But before that, let me introduce and share a little bit about our speaker today. Our speaker name is Lim Chia Wei, who came from Perlis. She's a petroleum engineer currently working at Schlumberger for 4 years and 7 months. She was earlier working at offshore in East Malaysia and onshore in rig in Oman. Post-intensive field training, she is now moved to sales to expand her soft skills and as well as strengthen her technical knowledge in oil and gas industries. Specifically in drilling domain, she wants to continuously inspire to create inspirational content to empower all the young women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM. So before that, I would like to ask all the participants, can you see my video, my face? Anyone can respond?
Yes,
Yes, okay.
we can.
Okay, so is Miss Lim here?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, I cannot see your,
You can't?
wait, I cannot see your camera.
I think you have to change your view. Oh, I think my
Oh,
camera
okay,
is...
now I can see. Okay. All right, let's begin. So let's meet our special speaker for today, Miss Cempaka. So how are you, Miss? I hope you are feeling good.
Yeah, I'm great. Good to see you guys. Sorry for a little bit of technical glitch. I think because Teams, usually you have to add me in the organization, then only we can start to use it.
Okay.
Mhm.
So maybe you can start by telling us more about yourself, please.
Okay, sure. So before that, if you guys want to engage better and, open your cameras so that I know that I'm talking to you guys. You guys can mute it. Later on, we will be having Q&A session. And then if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Hadi, I'm just wondering, is there any international students over here? Semua Malay or how?
There are
I mean,
some Malaysian, I think, studies in overseas.
okay. No, I mean in this group, like
Oh.
for this talk, like do you guys have international students about, I'm gonna mix around with a little bit of Malay?
Oh, okay.
You don't know, is it?
I don't know it
Ah,
really.
tak apa, tak apa. It's okay because it's more comfortable for me
Sorry for that.
to speak in Dui language.
Ah,
But okay,
okay.
so let me do a little bit of introduction of myself. I think Eva is here. Eva is the one that who is inviting me for this talk. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm very excited. I'm always very excited to share with final year students and university students, you guys, about how is exactly about the oil and gas life. I bet a lot of people want to join in the oil and gas. A little bit of introduction of myself. My name is Lim Chia Wei. You can call me Miss Chia Wei or Cempaka. Hadi, if you are more comfortable to call me Cempaka, by all means, go ahead.
Okay.
Um, I grew up in a very diverse culture. I have loads of Malay friends, and that's how I got the name of Cempaka. I grew up in a very small town in Perlis. I always like to being called as a anak kampung. Yeah. Um, I am currently, yeah, you guys know that I graduate from UTP, University Technology Petronas, with a bachelor degree of petroleum engineering. And I think most of you here are mechanical engineering. So later on, I will tell you guys like what are the scope that is gonna cover for the oil and gas industry. I'm currently working as a technical sales engineer in Schlumberger, but before that, I was at the field, so I was at offshore lah. But then, if you are working at offshore, not all the time, like 365 days, you are working at offshore. Sometimes you are based in the office as well. And after 2.5 years of experience, I completed my field job and I have the opportunity to come out, which is currently now based in the office and support the operation team doing sales job. Yeah, that's a little bit of myself. Later on, we'll share with you guys about my work life, and I have worked in a few places as well. I was in Abu Dhabi, I was in France, I was working in Oman, and last year I was in Thailand. So that's a little bit about myself, about the journey of anak kampung in the oil and gas industry. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
Parker. So I hope today we will have a good talk and share as much knowledge about the oil and gas industry in this program. So
sure.
thank you. Let's start with the first question, Miss. So how did you became interested in this field, the petroleum industry?
Okay, so I have no one. I tak ada siapa-siapa pun around me are actually involved in the oil and gas. It's basically a driven from actually from my dad. My dad, and whenever he see the platform on the TV, he will ask me to look at it. I don't know. I think he has always liked to know about the oil and gas news. Yeah, living in Malaysia, one of the main sources income for Malaysia is of course oil and gas, right? So he always exposed me to that. Like he would always show me on the TV. And myself, I'm very outgoing. I do not, I always don't foresee myself work in the office. I'm very outgoing and I always want myself to work outside from the office. So from Form 4 lagi, I dropped biology because I really don't like subject yang macam I kena hafal. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna take biology. I will be taking engineering drawing, lukisan kejuruteraan. So ever since I am in Form 4, I know my path very clearly that I want to become an engineer. And then by the end of Form 5, I say, okay, I want to work in the oil and gas. It seems fun. Well, I do not have so much of exposure. But one of the thing that when you are in Form 5 and you are just about graduates, you tend to look at, oh, how much can you make from a job? Yeah. And then being in the oil and gas, most of the time people will cakap, oh, kaya lah, you kerja oil and gas. So, well, that is also being a Form 5 student, that is also part of the reason or motivation why I want in the oil and gas. But I want to work in the petroleum. I always like, I want to know how is the oil being extracted out from the telaga minyak. So my love in the oil and gas, for the oil and gas industry ever since I'm young. So that's how everything gets started. And nobody actually around me have involved it in this field. So I memang want to pursue my study in UTP.
Mm.
It's either UTM or UTP. And now, even though you guys, UITM, if I'm not mistaken, in Shah Alam, you guys have bachelor engineering in oil and gas as well, right? So UCSI also start to have that course. But earlier on, during my time, I memang nak kerja dekat, not kerja, I want to enter either UTM or UTP. And even though UTP, I applied for twice. First time I applied, I got rejected. But my wish to pursue in petroleum engineering is so strong that I tried to apply again. So the second time I get it, and that's it. It's never ending.
Wow,
Yeah.
very interesting, Miss.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
And
Hadi.
as we know, the petroleum industry is the biggest sector in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes to the dollar value. So,
Yeah.
mm, so we proceed to the next question. So, according to your background, you were a graduate from UTP as a petroleum engineering student. So, how did you begin your career?
Okay. So when you join University Technology Petronas, right? So you have a lot of exposure, yeah, naturally, because most of the time, the university it's working a lot with the like what are you guys doing now? We have a lot of industrial talk. So basically, we have a lot of people from the industry to come and tell us, what do they do, what is wealth engineering is doing, what is the safety officer, what is their job scope. So generally, we have a lot of exposure, and then sometimes when we organize the recruitment drive, there's a lot of company like Petronas and then apalagi Schlumberger, Halliburton, they will come to UTP and then to give us a picture about the oil and gas. So that's how you slowly get to know like what kind of company is in the oil and gas, what kind of operators dengan services company. Again, there are two different things that I will explain to you later on. So and Schlumberger, if you are a petroleum engineering students or oil and gas students, you will surely know about Schlumberger. Okay, I'm not going to talk about operator yet. Like for myself, I get a lot of advice from my senior who are already working in the oil and gas industry. Ask them if you were to join in the operators, like Petronas, operator tu macam siapa, they operate the field. They are the owner of the oil field. But for services company like Schlumberger, Halliburton, and Baker, they are not the operators. They only give services to those operating company like Exxon, Repsol, PTTEP, Petroleum Thailand, who is currently now in Malaysia, and also Petronas. So they are the boss of us. They are our client.
Uh,
So I asked them what is the career progression, right? Of if you are to work in the operating company and also if you are to work in the services company. So I little bit, you are surrounded with people in the oil and gas. And then of course Schlumberger come to UTP for a recruitment drive to look for fresh graduates and also interns. So there's the time that I went for interview. Schlumberger have a lot of stages. So I went for interview, and that is when everything started. I got selected to become an intern with Schlumberger. And just for your information, UTP's internship is quite long. So Hadi, how long is your internship period?
my internship period, because I undergo during diploma and degree. So during my diploma, it was 6 months, but for degree, it was around 4 months
Okay.
during the semester break. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. It's not like too short. I have seen people like who are doing the internship for 3 months. But
Yeah.
for UTP, we are doing internship for 8 months,
Wow.
two
That's
semesters.
very long.
So it's very long. So
Yeah.
you get to learn a lot of things. So we basically have a lot of module that we need to finish. So you totally get a hook of how the industry look like for that 8 months. So and then before we leave the company or finish our internship, we have to come up with a project because 8 months is quite a long time. We have to come up with a project. So that project I have to present to my supervisor in Schlumberger, and also I have to go to KL office in for Schlumberger, present it there to the like my boss, and that is the time that they are going to evaluate you whether you are doing good for your internship or not. So I think based on the track records, that is the reason why during my final year I got a call again for the interview to join Schlumberger, and that's how everything unfold and started, right?
I see. So
Mhm.
that's very fascinating because as an intern, you get your own project. So
Yes,
yeah, so
yes,
it's very rare to see that kind of opportunity.
correct.
Yeah. So what kind of, for the next question, what kind of training did you have to go when you first started your career as a petroleum engineer?
Okay, so You know, guys, Hadi, I know that all the students always very, how to say, they feel like they don't have any expertise.
Yeah.
When you were still new in the industry or before you join, especially as a fresh graduate, you are worried so much about the certification, about what are the requirements that you need to have before you join the oil and gas. You have to know that semua orang start daripada bawah. Everyone start from the zero,
Yes.
start from the scratch. So don't worry too much if like Samaje, Petronas, if you were to join in their team as a fresh graduate, they will take time. I mean, of course, big organization, big company, multinational company, they will take time to develop you because you are working at the oil field, at the rig, at the oil platform. It's all very risky places. So before you want to run a job, you have to kind of go through a lot of training. Then you get used to the operation. Then only you can really execute the job. So even though if I were to go to offshore to work, when I just started, I have to always being guided by the senior. I cannot just go to the field and then I operate thing by myself. It's something like this never happened before. So don't worry too much. So as for myself, I was earlier the production engineer, atau orang panggil produksi engineer. Produksi engineer, I take care of the telaga minyak. So kan, you have to get the oil from the telaga minyak kan. So
Mm-hmm.
I am the production engineer that who is in charge of the production at that particular field. Dekat that field, yeah, I don't know how to say field in Malay, but that field, I was the production engineer that who is taking care of the oil production, of the gas production. So before I go to the field, Slama J sent me to a lot of training in terms of production engineering school from the very basic, from the very scratch until slowly technical. So we have like a first school, second school, and also third school. We don't call it training because that training is quite long. It was a 5 to 6 week of module. So I went to France to go through that training. So I learned about how is oil being extracted, what kind of temperature, what kind of pressure that you are forcing from that downhole, for example, and what are the equipments that is being used to do the casing setting, what are the accessories that is inside the casing, for example. It's huge.
Yeah. So yeah, must be challenging to have to go through all that. And
Mhm.
I think training is very important,
Yes,
especially in all sectors of work, in order to increase the efficiency of a worker, right?
correct.
So yeah, Mr. Marker, just to let you know, most of the participant here is from the mechanical engineering background.
Yeah.
So how do most people get into this field? Were there any education or training that this field required? And what steps would you recommend that we prepare to enter this field?
Okay. So Hadi,
Yeah.
everyone start from the scratch, like what I said earlier. Like for Slamaje, and also I have heard Petronas, we hire people from all kind of background. It doesn't matter mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, petroleum engineering, who else? E&E engineering, all background of engineering is able to enter the oil and gas. Because when you enter, everyone will start from zero. Be it you are petroleum engineering, it would be probably easier for us petroleum engineering when we go for training because we already have the basic, like we know the name like reservoir, we know the name of when the rocks down there, we know what is porosity. I'm really sure if you were to hear things like that, it will be a bit janggal, kind of strange for you to hear, like porosity, permeability, reservoir, oil in place, all those technical jargon.
Yeah.
um, Probably if petroleum engineering students were to go in for the training, we will just catch it immediately. But don't worry, when you go to school, there are so many people. I even have in the same class, yeah, for my first class, we have people from IT.
Oh,
And yes, so borderless carrier, like Slamaji always promote about borderless carrier. Anyone can join. There is people from HR that is into the oil and gas engineering as well. So don't worry, the instructor will be there to teach you. It might be tough, but at the end of the day, you can always ask your group mates or people that who are in the class. Everyone is very helpful. um uh, back to how do most people get into this field. So
Yeah.
don't worry. Like for myself, first thing, you have to have a healthy body, yeah, before you join any company, even though other sector like banking or probably what else, investment or chemical industry or supply chain, food chain. First, you have to pass the medical checkup. Yeah, this is for everyone. And especially when you are going to offshore, going to the field, you have to be fit for work. That's very important. That's why they do have, like, until at which level of BMI that you are able to go to the field. Because if you are slightly heavy, because you have to climb a lot of stairs. So you have to make sure that you are really fit for work. That is the first thing. You have to pass the medical checkup. The second thing is, it's called BOISET. It's basic offshore safety induction. So that one, you don't have to do it yourself. If you were to be selected to join Petronas, to join Exxon or Schlumberger, the company will provide you with that training. So basically, you just go empty-handed as a fresh graduate, because the company or the hiring firm basically don't expect anything from you, because you are fresh graduates anyway, right? And the courses like BOISET, basic soft offshore induction courses, they are very expensive. And sometimes people ask me, do I need to take the course before I enter the oil and gas? I would say no, because if I were to be like yourself, I'm still a student, I won't have so much money to go and take the courses. It's
Yeah.
very expensive, like probably 3,000 something or 4,000,
Wow.
like that, for
Okay.
one courses.
So many knowledges that you have to go through, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Um, so proceed to the next question. Can you share what are the roles that you have experienced as the petroleum engineer, and what kind of responsibility, task, or duty do you need to do for each of the role?
Okay. So I was earlier when I worked at offshore, first 2.5 years of my offshore or field life, I was the production engineer, like what I told you earlier. So I was assigned to take care of the wells, or telaga minyak, the oil wells, on the productions of the oil wells. Yeah, you have to know that the wells or telaga minyak dekat the field too, they are very old. They are 40 to 50 years old. Some of the wells, they have problems already. They cannot flow oil. I mean, they cannot produce oil anymore. So we as an engineer, we have to run a software, like what kind of parameters that we need to give or need to set for these wells in order for them to produce oil, or what kind of intervention that we have to do. So when I was at the field as a production engineer, um, the platform that you see over here is actually called mother platform. So it's the main platform, but beside that platform there's another few small satellite platform. Because when you build the telaga minyak, or not telaga minyak, the reservoir dekat bawah tu, reservoir tu macam is like a big telaga dekat bawah tu, is filled with oil and gas. They are distributed at different places. Yeah, so if you were to build this one mother platform, it is not able or not enough to cater for that big reservoir down there, big telaga down there. So in that field, you still have a lot of other satellite platform beside. And to go to that satellite platform, other satellite platform, usually how do you commute is you take a boat. We call
Oh.
we call a fast crew boat. So every day, we have planned already. Before I go to offshore, I already have planned. Like, okay, this trip or this hitch to go to offshore, what are the tasks that I need to complete? Okay, so at that platform, as you can see over here, we call it alpha. Usually the main platform, we will call it as A platform lah, alpha platform. But at the same time, I have to also do my jobs at Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Foxtrot. They are distributed all over the place, but then it's not like so far away. It's reachable via boat, or we call it like a small ferry lah. So what I have to do is I have to go to that telaga minyak. I'm not sure if you guys can imagine, or probably you can go to Google oil wells. There's a lot of oil wells on the platform. So
Mm.
what I go is I go and take the sample. So take the sample. Kenapa I have to take the sample? I have to check whether this telaga minyak is producing 80% of water or with 20% of oil, or it's 100% of water. If it is already 100% of water, we don't want water, right? We want is oil or gas. If it is like all water, I have to do something with the parameters or changes a little bit, because the more, I mean, like the more that you suck the oil, and then the temperature, the pressure is depleted, the parameter is changing. So as a production engineer, you have to run a software to check, oh, okay, this well is very old, it's depleted, the oil is finishing, what kind of parameters or what are the intervention that you need to do in order for them to produce the last bit of the oil. Macam tu. And then that was the production engineer, and then I moved to another department which is also, it's produksi, tapi it's another department which is called well intervention department. So well intervention, what do we do is, our task is like we are the well doctor. We go to the well and then we look at the well. Of course, we have to know the history of the wells. Okay, this well is old, a lot of accessory down there, it's already rosa, it's already damaged. So what we need to do is we need to call slick line. Slick line too is like macam a very thin line, and then we will put like equipments or tools to connect, and then we will go inside the wells and repair what are the things that is damaged down in the wells. So that's a little bit complicated and technical lah. But I'm going to tell you in the layman term so you are able to understand. And then sometimes when the reservoir, when the telaga down there is already depleted, depleted tu maksudnya the oil is already finishing lah. You have to go and cement. You cannot just let the telaga just flowing, because there's still a little bit of pressure. There's still it is because it's live well, right? It's hidup wells too, even though dah tak ada minyak, but it is still aliving. So you cannot let it just be like that. You have to go and plug and abandon. So you have to set a plug down there to isolate the pressure, and then you have to also cement. Cement tu macam you kind of like tempet the cement dekat situ, so that it will not have any live gases flow in the wells anymore. For example, those are the operations that I have to go and do. Of course, you are not working as a one person to do such a big job. We always deploy a lot of members, a lot of teams in order to complete a task.
Yeah, so many process just to get the oil, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So speaking about next question, so it must be challenging for you to have lots of responsibility. So what are the greatest challenge for you in this field, and how do you overcome it?
Okay, so if I were to talk about challenges, I will split it into two, in terms of career challenges and also in terms of personal challenges. If it is career challenges, you are working at the oil field. So this, what you see, the picture over here is pelanta minyak. But then there's another one which is called oil rig. Rig two is movable. So rig is used to drill, to correct or to gali the telaga minyak. So rig dia tak akan stay in one place for long. They will move from places to places. Whereas pelanta minyak, sebab dia dah ada telaga, they will stay there for like probably 50 to 60 years, because the oil or telaga minyak will produce for very long kan. So for myself, I was at the oil platform, and also I was at oil rig as well. Tapi when I worked at the oil rig, I was in Oman. I was in Oman for 4 to 5 months of training just to know about the system of the oil rig. When you drill a wells, there is a lot of system like rotary system, circulating system. They have like mechanical parts as well, like all the motors to operate the oil rig. So that is definitely your part, your mechanical engineering punya part. And even though at offshore, as you can see over here, I cannot like point screen over here kan. I'm not sure how to point it. Okay, never mind. So you see here kan, a lot of surface facilities. We call it like separators, and then crude oil pump. So all those parts are mechanical engineering punya job scope. You guys are there to repair the pump, to maintain the pump. Sometimes the equipment are very old. We use it for many years, like 10 years, 20 years. So it has to maintain all the time. Of course, we have a lot of mechanical engineering team dekat offshore or dekat pelantan minyak tu. So they are the one that who are responsible to maintain the facilities. So in terms of the challenges, back to the challenges, it is very risky to work in the oil and gas. So you have to really know what you are doing. You cannot just go and simply just buka the WAF, okay, you think that, it's you have two WAF, like WAF A and also WAF B, and then you pergi simply buka. No, you have to be 100% sure of what you are doing. And of course, you cannot avoid from making mistake. For example, myself, I have done mistake before, but it cannot be like severe mistake, because severe mistake you will incur a downtime. So for example, kalau lah I don't know how to operate that telaga minyak, and then I go and close some valve, and then it will stop the produksi minyak. So it's a serious offense, because every titik of the minyak is money for that field or for Petronas. I was earlier, even though I'm from Slamaje, but I was there for an alliance project. So that's the reason why you can see a lot of my photos. I was wearing Petronas coverall because I was working at their field as well. That was an alliance project between Slamaje and also Petronas. So I have to be very careful. I have to be very certain with every step and procedure. You know when you go to the lab, right? You have to baca all the step and procedure. Same goes to when you go to job later on. And you have to be more precise, more careful, and you have to always be prepared of what you are going to do the next day, because you cannot afford to make mistake. Yeah. And of course, I'm trying to emphasize on how important is every task of you at offshore, because every small mistake will lead to a very big risk. But always you are gonna work in a team. So for myself, I was very junior. I always have my senior to go to offshore, but only for 2 to 3 times lah. But then after that, most of the time I execute the job on my own. But then also you have Petronas representative who is taking care of the oil wells. So in case sometimes things are very heavy, I cannot I want to rig up. Rig up tu macam you want to prepare for one operation, small operation lah. Of course, if big operation, you have to deploy a big team. Like small operations, like I want to rig up, or I want to close the valve, I want to take the sample. Sometimes I have to panjat sana sini, so I still need some people's help. I will usually ask for their help to help me to do a little bit of thing. So you are always working in a buddy system. You are always working in a team. In terms of the personal challenges is, you are working at the field. If you are working at the Petronas, at the client side, usually you will have your schedule. So you boleh plan lah. Let's say you want to go for holidays, after you are off from the work. But I am working with Slabajay, services company. We are going to the field according to the demand. So if there is any project, I have to go to the field. I cannot plan for any vacation. Asia last time, when we were able to travel lah. Asia last time, have like cheap ticket or whatnot. I will not have the chance to buy, because I do not know when will my project come or surface. Sometimes you plan it in November, early of November, but then there's a little bit of hiccups and delay, and then it is being delayed to December, for example. So you don't really have the time to plan. And I was based in Sabah. I stay in Perlis. It's very hard for me to come back as well. So yeah, it's very hard for you to see your family. You are kind of like totally involved or indulge yourself with your work. So that is something that at the early or beginning of your career, you have to really plan for it. Like I have friends that they, for example, they want to get married early. Then you have to plan lah. It's very hard for you to go to the field, because sometimes you go to the field, the job might be delayed, and then you have to extend your stay. And we have cerita yang some of the people, their wife deliver or labor in the labor room, they are not able to make it because their operation is still ongoing, especially you are working at the oil rig. Sebab oil rig punya operation is 24 hours. Kalau production platform, Not really. We have 24 hours operation at the mother platform. Tapi satellite platform memang you kena balik before 6 p.m. because it is not meant for people to stay there until night. There's no lights. There's no facilities there. So it is not that intensive. But if you were to work at the oil rig, drilling is very expensive. The rig to be deployed by the company is very expensive, like, you know, as in million of ringgit per day. So you have to rush lah. You have a schedule that you need to complete. Macam tu.
Yeah. So, yeah, Miss, I agree with you with the regarding the safety involvement in when it comes to safety, the oil and gas industry. So, and also there are lots of consideration that needs to be made if you were uh, to work in this sector. So we go forward to the next question. Apart from working, what activities do you usually do when you are at offshores? Were phones even allowed? Because there are rules that we cannot use phones at petrol station, right? So does the same rule apply in an offshore rig?
Yeah. So this one again is gonna be a long topic, right? So definitely, I enjoy my oil field life so much. So much to tell you guys. If I were to tell today, it's gonna take me a day. So I'm
Okay,
gonna cut short.
it's okay.
Um, the routine. I'm going to tell you the routine lah. What I do every day. So our day we start very early. Our operation meeting is at 6 in the morning. Yeah, especially when your field is at Sabah and Sarawak water, dekat sana days get started early. So at 6 it's already very bright. I mean, like, not very bright lah, like it's almost the sunrise is over already.
Mhm.
So you have to wake up very early, of course, to eat your breakfast. And then 6 in the morning you will have a operation meeting. Operation meeting as in from all the department, you will sit together, you will talk about safety every day. We have to start our meeting with safety stories. Anyone can share about what happened yesterday. You will share, and then this department will be talking about, okay, mechanical department, they will say that, okay, today kita orang nak maintain this pump A, pump B. They have a lot of pump there. So we want to maintain the pump, and also we want to work on a little bit on the maintenance of the separator, for example. And then come from production department, like myself, I will say that, okay, today I want to go to Bravo. I want to take the sample. I want to see whether this valve is working or not, whether it is good to go, or we can open up, or we can flow the wells, for example. So I have to update. Everyone have to update like what they are going to do. So everything is very well planned dekat offshore. And same goes to the oil rig, right? The operations, we call it look ahead, it's all being planned. So you really have to know your staff when you go there, what you are going to do the next day. And then after the operation meeting, we are going to have with our department meeting pula. For my production, I will be having with my production meeting. And sometimes we have a like conference call to call back to the office, they got offshore. And then office, they are the engineers that who work there, right? So they will tell us, oh, okay, if you were to touch this telaga minyak, these wells, what are the parameters that you have to open? What are the pressure that you have to open? What are the choke size you have to open in order to get the maximum flow of the oil, for example? And then after that, you will work dekat the platform. Siapa yang nak keluar pergi satellite platform, they will take a boat to go out, and then you will stay there until 6 p.m. So basically, your schedule is 12 hours from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And sometimes it depends. Kalau if the weather is okay, it's sunny and sunshine, you can stay there until 6 p.m. But sometimes not all the time. It rains, or monsoon season like now, a lot of the time it's raining. So if it is raining too heavily, the wave will get very choppy. Ombak akan melambung-lambung. So the ferry cannot travel. So what the not Medco, it's like he's the one that who is taking care of the weather and also the logistic dekat oil field too. He will walkie-talkie us, hello, you guys can have to come back early sebab it's gonna rain later. If it is gonna rain later, the boat cannot longside dekat platform. Alongside tu maksudnya cannot approach the platform, so that nanti we cannot go up to the boat lah. That's why before the weather gets bad, you have to cepat-cepat balik already. So sometimes if the weather bad, we get to come back early. If it is no, it's sunny, you will work until 6 p.m. So after 6 p.m., if I have time, if I come back early as on the dot 6 p.m., sometimes it may be late, but maybe late the latest before the days get dark lah. Because at Sabah 6:30 is already very dark, so you have to balik as soon as possible unless you have a project which needs to be 24 hours operation, which I go through that also. So but what they do is they will put all the lights dekat the satellite platform, so everything have to plan first before you want to go on 24 hours operation. And then balik tu, if I balik awal, I will play ping pong. You can
Okay.
you can jog at the heli deck, the
Oh,
place where the helicopters land. You can actually jog there. Huh. I play ping pong. We have gym as well, and then we have karaoke room. You can sing karaoke as well. It's quite well equipped. After that, you will go for your dinner. After your dinner, you have to prepare report. Like for myself, every day I have to do a report to report to the town or to report to the office team that okay, I have take the water sample or water cut for these wells. What is the percentage of the water cut? So is this valve is working or not? So I have to also take note of all the things that I said in the morning lah. I have to update. So I send a report to them at night. Yeah, it's very tedious about you have to kind of like record everything that you do in a small book, or
mm,
else you will forget. Sometimes you jump hopping the platform. Sometimes I go to Bravo, sometimes I go to Echo. So one day maximum I can go only two lah. So I jump ship to another platform. So you have to record what you do every day so that you are able to report at the end of the day.
okay. Very informative, Miss. You also have a very busy schedule, I see. So, Miss, you have been outstationing a lot, right? So
Mhm.
my question is, how long can it be to work offshores, and how many days were given?
Okay. Um, for myself, it is my schedule is not constant. So I go to offshore according to the project. If there is any project, I will go there. Or there's also that is production punya project lah. So we call it like coil tubing project. It's a big intervention work. Intervent so means we will like have the candidates of which telaga minyak which needs to be visit, like
Mhm.
diorang dah sakit dah tua, you have to go in there and do uh, repair something that's damaged beyond the telaga minyak. So we have a campaign called that. So when the campaign started, I usually very busy. Most of the time, I will stay in the offshore for like maximum 3 weeks, and then I will come back to the office kejap, and then I will go back to the offshore. But the maximum days for now is a requirement from the company or operators itself. Maximum is 28 days. So if
Wow.
you are staying more than 28 days, you will come back to the land and reset. You will reset. Sometimes there's not enough of people, not enough of crew. Crew, we call it field crew to go to offshore. So you will come back and reset dekat Labuan or Miri, which is the oil and gas punya port kan. You sleep at the land for 1 or 2 days, and then you have to go back to the offshore.
Yeah.
So it can be it can be the maximum 28 days. But also it depends on the situation. Like now, COVID, right? It's very hard for them to change the crew all the time because
Mhm.
every time you go to offshore, you have to take the PCR test. You have to make sure that you are negative. So because of that situation, also they have to extend their stay. And I've heard of people staying like 40 days, 50 days, and it is also really depend on your company. Sometimes some company don't let the crew stay for that long because fatigue will make you do mistake. You are too tired because when you are at offshore there's no rest day. It's not like Saturday you don't have to work, Sunday you don't have to work, tak ada. When you are at offshore saja, every day you have to work from 6 to 6, or if it is at the oil rig, probably some of the rig is like from 12 to 12 hours punya shift. So so if some of the company they will limit for their crew to go to offshore 28 days. Some I have heard they even stay longer than that, which is not good lah. In case sometimes when we get tired, we will do mistake and we will probably not aware. We are so tired, right? Not aware of the things that we do. and it will cause risk to the operation. Mm.
I see. Must be very challenging because 28 days. So
Yeah.
you may miss your family, right? So that's why
Yeah.
consideration need to be made. So when working in this sector, what kinds of accomplishment that tends to be valued and rewarded in this field? Maybe you can get a chance to have a high chance of being promoted.
Okay. Um, Actually, for if you are working at the platform, right, you are working as a family. And family, it means that we are working together with so many services company. Kalau Petronas, they have a lot of service in that platform, right? Sometimes
Mm.
you need these people from Summerjay, sometimes Seba Dynamic, a local company also, Petra, Dayang, all those local companies that who are there to maintain the structure, for example. There's another scope of work pula. So basically, you have a lot of company, different colors of coveralls that who are working in that platform, and you work like a family.
Wow.
And any uh good things that you do. So we actually at Petronas Sarigali punya platform, they practice focus recognition award. Not like award lah, macam so let's say I am from production department, and then working in the same platform that is also maintenance platform, and I need help. I need help. I cannot do this thing. I need help. Someone to help me kejap. For example, to carry this stuff before I prepare for that job. um I will ask them for help. I will ask the maintenance team for help, and then the next day in the morning meeting, you can also say focus. We call it focus recognition. Thank you, thank you, Chai, for helping me to rig up, or to help me when I need help for this operation. For example, small things like this. It doesn't have to be big. And in terms of how to get promoted in Schlumberger, we have quite a clear path of career progression. So when you are joining as a fresh graduate, we call it grade 8. Intern, grade 7. So grade 8 nak pergi another grade tu, you have specific tasks to finish. Like you have to do on-job training, you have to do online training, you have to go to physical training in Abu Dhabi or France, you have to pass the exam. So everything is already well crafted for you to get your next promotion. So as long as you are focusing, you have to work at the same time, but then you have to also, like, on the weekend, usually we don't have time. If I have a free time, I will work on my career progression, so that I can complete all the tasks that is required for me to get a next grade or next promotion.
Wow. Yeah, I see. Very interesting because it must be feeling very good, to accomplish something valuable, right?
Yes, yes.
Especially
You
when
have
getting
to. if
promoting.
if you are not getting promoted, then you will forever staying in the same pay.
Yeah, yeah. True, true.
So that's the
So,
motivation.
yep. Thank you for the motivation. So now let us focus on the trying to get a job part because I'm sure that we as students we are worried actually for getting a job. So is there any qualification that do you seek in a new hire?
Okay. So when I first went for an interview with Schlumberger,
Mm.
the recruiter asked me, "Can you work? You know, you're gonna be very busy and you won't have time to spend with your family, and you are gonna be away for training and also away to be at the field. Are you able to work overtime, or are you okay if you are not to be able to see your family for a year?"
Mm.
And then I'm like, okay, if I really want something and I really want to work with somebody, I'm like, oh, I can do it. Anything is fine for me as long as you give me a job. So really, they want you to be, you are running in such a fast-paced world. People want you to catch up with things very, very fast. Not like being spoon feed again. You are not in the university, you are not in high school again. So if people would teach you one time, people would expect you to know that thing like deep down already. If there is something very complicated or you are still blur with it, a company would expect you to do your own study. Yeah,
Oh,
they send you to training. Sometimes, well, from the training, if you don't do it, it will be different. And when you do it, you will see more cases, more problems, more challenges. So they will expect you to, of course, senior will be helping you. And then after that, they will expect you to adapt and be flexy and know how to handle that specific job. They won't be teaching you until you are old. So you have to really have your own self initiative lah. You have to throw away that spoon feeding culture. If you really don't know about something, do studies, do research, because we always have like the portal, a lot of portals, a lot of SOP, standard procedure, SOP, step and procedure for you to read and go through. So at least before you are running a job, the manager would expect you to already do your homework before you go and run the job. So when you are having problems, when people explain to you, it's easier for you to catch. Yeah. So having your own initiative, it's very important. And also, I would say that leadership skills, take charge, take lead. It doesn't mean that you are the youngest in the team. You don't have to do anything. Take charge, right? Be part of the team. Sometimes, even though you are new to the company, sometimes your idea is probably fresh. That team has been working together for 5 years. They don't have the new idea already. So by having the new you or new employee in that team, we expect to hear or see a fresh idea from a fresh graduates, for example. So you can always voice out your opinion, be volunteer, I would say, and then jangan berkira, and don't worry too much about all those technical skills or hard skill, because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, you will learn over the time, and the company will send you for training. The most important is the human skills, the soft skills.
Soft
That yeah, soft skills like communication skills, leadership skills, networking skills.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, you are just going to work with humans that have emotions and also feelings. That of course, you are new to the team. Probably you are more pandai. You have more knowledge compared to the people who has been working. They are working still using the old way. And then you come and you want to change everything. Cannot lah. You still have to respect and have to ask them. Why is it that you are not doing this way? If I were to do this way, what do you think? Yeah, because it's people home. Sometimes we say that people that who are working in the oil platform, they are very experienced. They are 10 years in that platform. They are 20 years in the platform. And then you are the new eyes. You don't go there and intervene and start to change everything, right? You have to slowly and see how to say, adapt with the environment first and see how people do things. And probably you feel like that things, why people need to do two steps, but you can change it to one steps, and you can always voice out your opinion. But of course, don't be too aggressive, because people, not to say will feel threatened, but people that who are working in that field for so many years, of course they will feel that they know better than you. So if you want to voice our opinion, you have to also be careful and ask yourself why first, why they are not doing this, and what if I were to suggest this suggestion, for example. And you will learn over the time.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, I agree with you, Miss. It's always important, to be prepared for something you really want, because employers really want something quality that can you can so that you can make contribution to the company.
Mm.
So we may need to skip some of the questions here, because
Oh,
we are until 3:10. So
okay.
I have two more questions.
Mhm.
So what advice would you give to someone who is considering this type of job, the oil and gas sector?
Okay, what are the opinions? Um, so like what I said to you earlier, you have to think in terms of your personal growth and also career growth. If you were to work in the oil and gas, it's very tough as in you really have to. I work in Malaysia. You don't ask me what is work-life balance. And I see these days a lot of people are promoting about work-life balance. It's good, but sometimes it's certain occasion, especially when the industry is picking up. Now, no, now it's like is oil and gas is not doing very good, and a lot of retrenchment that you have seen on LinkedIn or you have heard, is definitely a downtime, or we call it a downturn. So you don't have much job. That's why a lot of people got retrenched. But during the good old days, good time, you are so busy. You finish one project over here in this field, you have to go to other field to execute the job, because they don't have enough people or enough crew to turn around. So if you are to join, especially oil and gas services company that who give services to operators, you have to really consider as in what is your future plan. because you really don't have time. I've not seen my friends for, you have to kind of like sacrifice your personal time, as in, I've not seen my friends for many years, some of them. During gathering, sometimes I don't get to come back. Like there's 1 year I was at the field in Oman. I don't get to come back for Chinese New Year. So all those things that you have to really consider, if whether you are able to sustain or not. Yeah. In terms of the career plan or career goal, know that oil and gas industry is very volatile. If the oil price is dropping, a lot of operating company like Petronas, they are not gonna not to say produce so much, they are not going to drill so much because the oil price is so low. Why is it we want to keep on investing so much of money, and that is only so little that we are making? For example, like COVID, you see a lot of people are not using oil because we are not traveling, we are not going anywhere, and the plane is sitting there. As you know, plane is the company that who bought the most oil. They bought kerosene. So every change is being impacted because of the COVID. The job stability itself, you have to really consider if you were to join in the oil and gas, as in, if one day I were to get fired in the oil and gas industry, if for myself, I still want to go in the oil and gas. For example, you really are interested in the oil and gas and you want to join oil and gas, you have to also think about your job stability. What if one day you get fired, you get retrenched? What are the other skills that you have that you are able to switch the industry straight away? Like for myself, I'm currently working as sales, which is good because it widened my job scope. I used to be a production engineer in the oil and gas, so it's very specific done. So
Mm-mm.
you are, if you are a mechanical engineer, maybe you are working with the surface facilities. So only that equipment that you are working with. So kalau you kena buang kerja, it's very hard for you to find another job that is with the same job scope. So that's why you have to this day, especially during COVID, this time we start to see it's very important for you to have a lot of skills. In case if your plan A do not work out, my plan B is gonna work for me. For example, like for myself, I start to teach, I start to coach, probably. And also I found Spice Your CV, teach people about how to get a job, how to stand apart from other candidate in a job hunting journey. So, I kind of leverage my portfolio, not only consisting in the oil and gas sahaja. So that is very important to have other skills. For example, I have friends that who is working about video editing. Even though he's in the oil and gas, he's also do part-time or freelancer of video editing work. So in case if you are being retrenched or being fired, you will not be lost.
Yeah, I agree with you. So many more consideration will need to be made, especially because of the crisis of pandemic. And
Correct.
I want to mention too, you are also, Ms. Cempaka is also the founder of Spice Up Your CV,
Correct.
where it did help many job seeker found the dream job that they want. So yeah, so if the participant don't know, you can follow the Spice Your CV
Spice your
Instagram.
CV. Yeah.
Yeah, Spice Your CV Instagram, and you can follow the page for more tips of improving your CV. So last question for this session. Uh, since we are currently living in the pandemic of crisis, what is your opinion for future engineer after oil and gas industry has also affected with this pandemic of COVID-19? Is there any chance for future workers to work in this industry?
Okay, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
I have to be frank. I have to be honest. It's a lot of industry. You can see aviation. Who else? Tourism, hoteliers, oil and gas is one of it. We are actually struggling. A lot of projects are cancelled. The operators like Petronas, they are reducing their drilling activities. Production, it's limited. The other day, during the COVID-19, when the whole country is locked down, the oil is always spilling because nobody is using oil. We are not moving. So um, that is also impact the income of Petronas, right? So because of the current COVID that we are at, and you guys are gonna be the one of the toughest batch ever to graduate because the job market is gonna be so tough. That's why I always emphasize it's very important for you to have multi-skilling. um Upgrade your skills. If you and if the things are getting better, like the we start to find vaccine, and later on the world will open, and then everything will go back to the normal, you have to be first at the door to be ready to grab that job. So you have to upgrade your skills. Yeah, if you feel that your communication skills is not good, like be like Hadi tried to become a moderator, which is very good. You can
Yeah,
put in your CV, right?
thank you,
That
thank you.
you are actually working on to improve your skills. Don't worry, I start from not being able to speak in a proper English until where I am today. So you have to practice. You don't we are English is not our native language. We don't get to master English in just like a day or two. It takes time to practice. So same goes to my case, right? All I take times. I never stop to learn. I even though myself now, I last week I was taking a presentation class, in order for me to upgrade my skills, upgrade the tips or key points of how to present in front of people. Even though I've worked with the company for so many years, right? I still do that. Negotiation skills, those communication skills. If you try to be a moderator, MC, then when you go out there and sell during the job interview, you can always sell, I'm not good at communication skills, but I try to be moderator, try to be MC in order for me to improve my skills. These are the skills that people want to see when you go out there and apply for job. Yeah, the willingness for you to learn along the way. And also, one of the things that I want to highlight is personal branding. It's very important. You might feel very small that you don't have anything to offer because you are still a graduate or a student, but it's very important for you to network with people on LinkedIn right now. Like start to share, start to know people, start to know what is this company is doing, because you don't want later on you graduate, you want to find a job, and then you go and post about I'm finding a job. Not many people will be able to help you because you don't have any story to share, and straight away you are coming to the community and ask something from people. If you are the recruiter, am I going to give the job to Amira, or I'm going to give the job to Husna? I don't know who is she. This girl just come to LinkedIn and straight away ask for job. That's the reason why it's very important for you to build trust in the communities. Last time, it's good because during COVID, you have the recruitment drive, you have the recruitment event, career fair, and then you have conference that you can go and network people. But now it's tough and it's very competitive. But you have the internet, leverage it, use it to improve your personal branding, to improve your network. In case one day, kalau you dalam kesusahan, it's looking for job, people already know that oh, this girl is sharing a lot on LinkedIn, I think she's good, maybe we can hire her. For example, myself, I never really start to share on LinkedIn until the pandemic, because I'm so scared that I might be getting fired, and hearing news around your circle, a lot of people get retrenched, a lot of people are losing their job. It makes me scared. So that's the reason why I start to build my connection on LinkedIn, and I managed to improve my LinkedIn from 500 connection to today 21,000 connection. And one
Wow.
day, if I were to lose a job and I already have a branding on my LinkedIn, it would be slightly easier compared to people that who just come to LinkedIn and know nothing and ask for job, right? Because
Yeah,
I already have the trust. I share about anything, about how I improve my English, how I improve my communication skills, how is it that I start to involve with in the oil and gas, even though I'm from kampong and no one is my relative or my family or my neighbors, no one is in the oil and gas. So I start to come out and share to people. And same goes to you. You can do that also. You can share to people like how is it that you excel or get a good CGPA? What is the things that you did? How do you study in order for you to score an exam, for example? So um, those skills are very important. And is there still any chance? Yes. When now probably the job market is very small, or the opportunities or the opposition, not opposition, I mean the job application opening for oil and gas is very little because of the setting, because of the currently of what we are going through. But then when the market is going back up, vaccine is start to come in. good news, because when vaccine, everyone has that vaccine injected, probably you are able to travel again. The plane industry is gonna the aviation industry is gonna come back. It's all related to each other, and then the economy is start to grow again. So when they start a company, or when the economy start to grow again, you have to be the first one to be ready to go to that battlefield against so many people that who is looking out for job. So there's definitely opportunities. Yeah, you just wait for time. If you are not able to get in the oil and gas, you can always go to some other places first, or maybe become a sales engineer first. You can brush up a little bit about your soft skills. Yeah,
Mhm.
to communicate with people, to talk with people, and then later on, after like 1.5 years, when things you are getting back, you can always go back to the oil and gas.
Okay. Thank you, Miss. Thank you, Miss, for the encouragement and the tips. And I have to agree with you. LinkedIn is very good platform for networking, especially because it will be a very tight competition in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when there's new fresh graduates, and
Mm.
hopefully that the vaccine will come early so that we can live a normal life like
Yes.
before. So now we have finished all the questions that are based on the tentative. Thank you, Miss, for sharing the. Thank you, Miss Cempaka, for sharing many information about the oil and gas industry. So we'll get so many knowledge for today, and I hope that everyone take notes and all the advice from Miss Cempaka, and we can apply them in the future. So now I would like to begin the Q&A session. If there's anything that you can or would like to ask Ms. Chimpaka, you can turn on your mic and please introduce yourself and ask, or you can type in the chat and we will ask on your behalf. Thank you. So are there any questions?
You guys can open your camera or not? Like, I cannot see everyone. Come on. You open
Yeah,
open your
you can also open your camera, guys.
come on. This is the time for us to network.
Hi,
Don't
Miss.
keep Hello, who is that?
Hi, my name is Muhammad Fakramin. I have a question. Uh, if we, as a student, have a boss set already, if is there any chance we can take intern dekat offshore, or there's a lot of requirement untuk sampai ke offshore tu?
No. For Boyset, for offshore, you only need medical. You have to pass your medical, and you have to have Boyset. That's it. You don't have to have other certification. Basically, that's it. Unless you are going to execute some other work which needs certification. For example, you have to run certain tool that that has gamma ray, that have like dangerous ingredients. Then you might have to take another certificate for you to go and run the job there. Tapi basically, like for me, production engineer, so far I only require medical pass, my medical checkup, voice set. That's it. If you are having a voice set to go to oil and gas, I think it's a plus point.
Okay, even we are still intern, is there any
Yeah.
chance?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You mean still any chance to go to? Okay.
Yeah.
So some of the company, they do send their intern to the platform, or they send to the rig, but not all the platform, because last time Schlumberger used to send intern to offshore as well, but something happened. I think that intern go and take pictures and post on social media, and then what else? I think something happened to the intern lah, and then after that we stopped sending intern to offshore again. And again, probably might be not competent for offshore yet. So
Okay, understand.
it depends on the company. Some company they do send.
Okay, thank you.
So we have a question from the chat box by Muhammad Nabil bin Muhammad Rahim. First question is, as a civil engineering student, how and where do I fit in the oil and gas industry? Second, what are the technical skills that must know to join the oil and gas industry?
Okay, so first question first. Civil engineering, you can definitely work at the structure. You can see the platform tadi kan. There's a lot of steels, a lot of steel bars, that you need to maintain every year. So that is where the civil engineers fit in. You have to study the structure, and Petronas also, I mean, you have seen how they build a platform, and they do have projects for that. There's new field that they have to build the platform, start from the beginning. So you will be the civil engineer that who calculates all the, all the weights, to make sure that that platform is safe to build, for example. So that is where you are fit in as a civil engineer. And again, sometimes not whatever that you study, like for myself, even though I'm petroleum engineers, study in I work in the oil and gas. Only 20% of what I learned have actually I used to apply at the workplace later on. Almost almost everything will be a new thing for you. Whatever that you study on the book, it just be a guideline, but you have to know that when you work at the field later on, or in actual, there's so much that disparity and so much difference from the job scope of what you have learned at the university or at the school earlier. It would be different. So even though you're a civil engineer, you can suddenly be a production engineer if there's any opening and the company trusts you, put you for training, and you can also become a production engineer. In terms of the technical requirement, again, technical skills, don't worry. Hard skills, don't worry. The company will, if they want you to execute this job, or you might be needing a certificate to operate this WAF or this equipment or this tool, that company that who hired you will send you for a training. So as a student, you don't have to worry so much.
Any more question, guys?
Yeah, yes, I have a question. Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can
introduce
hear
yourself,
you.
please.
Okay, my name is Kasim Daniel. Currently, I am in semester 5 mechanical engineering. I have a simple questions. What is your attitude at the beginning of your career in oil and gas company, other than strong desire? Because you said first apply, fail, second apply, pass. What is the attitude in the, should we have?
I would say that resilient. Um, Working in the oil and gas company, it's very tough. If it is good days, you will be very busy. Um, you are basically like what I told you. If you are very busy at the job, you basically come back to the land and reset it for one day, and you don't get that personal time that you are looking for. Yes, you get the money, but sometimes, when you get the money, or you get something, you have to sacrifice that one thing in your life, which is your personal life. I would say that resilient and being adaptable. Sometimes you are being sent to different field. Like I was being sent to Oman, I was being sent to Thailand. You have to be adaptable with the organization that is totally new for you. When I was in Oman, people that they have not seen a lady come for the field for 2 years already, so it feel very strange for them to finally see a girl, right? So and a lot of things are different there, in terms of the operations, in terms of communicating with people. A lot of people at the field there don't even speak in English, so very limited people that I could actually talk to. But eventually, after a month or after 2 weeks, you start to know how is people behavior, how do they behave, how do they talk to you, who are the one that can talk in English, how is the working cycle life. You have to learn to be flexible and adaptable to your surrounding.
Okay, next we have a
Thank you.
question from
Do you get
uh,
it, Kasmin?
Yeah, we are resilient and being adaptable.
Yeah.
yeah, it's very good. So next we have a question from in the chat box from Muhammad Nur Ibrahim. Asking from a friend. She asked, "What are the challenges you face as a woman in the industry?"
Okay. Uh, a lot of people has asked me about these questions, but I feel nothing but great. In Malaysia, you for a female to go to the field to offshore, tak janggal. You can see a few girls there. Sometimes, well, there's sometimes that it's only one. Uh, I'm the only girl at the oil field, but the people there have seen girls working at the field. So it's not weird for them. It's not strange for them. And they will treat you equally. You are a female. It doesn't mean that they will treat you not good. You are human too. You will have the equal opportunity. So in case, they ask you about opinion, you will have the chance to voice out also your opinions. Um, and before I joined the oil and gas, right? Before I go to the field, I always thought people that who are working in the field are very mean, are very sador, are very tough. But actually, it's not the case. You know, we work like a family, and in case I have any problems or my team have any problems, we help each other because there is the family that we have. We are so far away. And again, this time I didn't answer whether I have phone or not. You have a phone there, but you will not have signal because the offshore that I was at is very far from the land. You will not get the pencawang. So your phone will forever be like no signal. So what you will get is you will get Wi-Fi. But imagine the Wi-Fi is being shared with so many people, like 100 plus people at the platform. So the line is super slow. Sometimes we are trying to share WhatsApp images. It takes ages for you just to load the image. So you tend to be very close. You really talk to the people around you. It's good, and I would say that if it is as a female, probably you will feel a little bit intimidated if you are surrounded by men, and when they ask you to voice out the opinion, probably is a human nature of women where we feel our confident level is lower compared to lelaki. Lelaki, I read on a research, if there's any job it's opening, there's any job application is opening, a guy will apply for it even though he knows that he only has 20%. He only know the 20% of that job scope. But if even though the girl, the lady, or female, they know 80% of the job scope, for them, they are still not confident to apply for the job. They doubt themselves. They are always doubting about themselves. They don't have that confident level. Whereas the male or the gents, they are able to inflate their confident level. So that is the differences. So when they inflate the confident levels, as a female, generally you will feel slightly intimidated. Macam tu. But eventually, like for myself, I'm already 5th year working in the oil and gas right now. I get used to the setting already. I get used that most of my friends are gents. They are male. I'm used to that setting, and I'm okay to voice out if I have any opinion, right?
I see. So next, we proceed to the next question from Muhammad Hafiz. What are the common misconceptions that people have regarding oil and gas industry, and how important is authorized gas tester certificate in oil and gas industry?
What is the first question again? How?
What are the common misconceptions that people have regarding oil and gas industry? The first question. And how important is authorized gas tester certificate in oil and gas industry? The
Okay.
second question.
The conception that I think people have is they believe that working in the oil and gas is very dangerous, but it is indeed very dangerous. But you have to know that there's a lot of safety precautions. There's every day, before we start any meeting, you celik mata je, you can see a lot of safety sharing on your everywhere at the workplace, at the oil platform, at the oil rigs, and you have to start your meeting with a safety sharing. So that is how much that we are emphasized towards safety. And over the time, last time they used to do it in a cowboy way, but now there's no more. Every step and procedures that you are doing in any projects or in any job scope that you are doing at the oil rig or at oil platform, you have to report. You have to tell your manager that who are taking care of you, right? They are not doing they are the manager that who oversees the operation. So basically you have to report to them, or how they have to know how is it that you are going to do it. So everything have to be passed the approval. You have to sign the permit to work. You have to execute everything in the safety manner. So I would say that you can see that the risk you don't really hear already, unless recently you have heard that the boat, the langgar, the platform, because the weather was really bad. That one is because of the weather. It's something beyond your control because the anchor actually disconnected from the boat. So that's why dia jadi macam goyang, and people are so scared. People start to jump from the boat. That one is weather. Weather is something that beyond our control. So that's why if the weather is bad, we have like a MECO or the guy that who is taking care or watching the and always connected to the meteorology of the weather, that is how it's every day's weather. So he will know whether today is gonna rain or the wave is gonna pick up, the weather is gonna pick up. So every information we will know it before we actually execute the job, so that we are able to execute the job in a safely manner. Okay, so I would say misconception is semua orang rasa it's dangerous, but it's not if you are doing things at the right way. That's very important. Second thing is about authorization oil and gas. That one, to be honest with you, I think it's very specific. If you are a gas tester or you are some equipment separators punya gas to operate that machine, I have not heard that myself. Probably I've heard, but I'm not sure who exactly is holding that certificate or authorization. You again, if any certificate, the company will give it to you for training, and you don't have to worry about that.
Okay, thank you, Miss. So now, next question we're from Afis. Can I know, do Muslim have time to pray during the shift work?
Yes, you can. They have if air semayang kan, they will have like they tadah air raining water. They will have like a tank at every even though satellite platform yang macam tak ada resources lah. They will tadah the air. You know, you have a lot of rainwater. So usually when they want to pray, they will just use the water to pray. You have all the time to pray. It's not
Yeah.
like, you know, you work until you don't eat. You are not God, right? You are not. We cannot work until so hard because later on when we are too tired again, we are always emphasize on fatigue. Because of the fatigue, you are too tired and then you do mistake in your job, or you probably you are feeling asleep because you are not sleeping enough. That is very dangerous. Then you do wrong things, which will be very risky to the operation. So of course you have the time to eat. You know, people will send food to you. You have the time to pray is like what, 5 to 10 minutes, right? Won't take so
Yeah.
long, so you can pray.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So now, from Namira, currently studying in petroleum engineering in Uni KL. She wants to ask if suddenly somebody who works in offshore got emergencies such as death in the family, can we request to go back home or do we need to wait until the project is done?
Yes, there's cases like that lah.
Yeah.
So that is exceptional. Not every day on the rig you have crew that their family pass away, right? Definitely you are able to excuse from going back. Sometimes the problem is you don't have chopper or you don't have boat every day to go back to the darat. Chopper is not every day, yeah. Chopper is very expensive, so only crew change. So probably at the rig one time once. Same goes to the platform. One time one blah. 1 week once. So in the platform that I was in last time, it's only Wednesday that we have chopper, 3 trip lah, so to pick up people for crew change, right? And then whereas boat, sometimes 2 days once, 1 day once. So because of that limitation, and sometimes like macam dekat Terengganu, I heard, which I have never been, the platform is very far away from the darat, like 16 hours of boat. So even though you have that, by the time you balik, you cannot make it already to the funeral unless Chinese lah. Chinese, you know, we simpan banyak hari, so boleh lagi tengok. Tapi people will that are exceptional cases, right? So people will let you to go back. No issue with that. But the only thing that because you will have less people in the team, so probably the company has to send another one person lah to replace your position, for example. If your operation is really important and really crucial.
Okay. So next, from Alexis Yang Wee, I have a question to ask regarding the work report. Are you required to hand over your report daily or do you hand them over weekly to your superior?
Daily.
Daily.
I do it on a daily basis because we do a lot of different thing, right? So every night I have to do a report and report it to the town. We don't call it handover, we call it like a daily report. But then we also have a handover report before crew change. So crew change, it depends on, sometimes I go there for 2 weeks. So when my another engineer is coming over, so I will basically brief him. I will write in Excel like what is the things that I have done. Or he can also refer to the report that I did, right? That I send every day. Then that's it. You hand over and then you will take a chopper or you take a boat to go back, right? So handover period is still, sometimes you don't meet each other even though you are buddy. You are we're holding the same position. Maybe he come later, you go back early, so you don't get to catch each other. So you will just communicate via email that they are able to check it later.
So, Mr. Parker, since our program is until 3:30, can we extend a little bit?
Yeah. Go
Because
ahead.
we have a lot of questions still. So
Okay.
I think I have skipped some, which is from Abdul Aziz. He was raising his hand for quite a long time. Do you have any question, Abdul
Uh,
Aziz?
Hello, can you
Yes,
guys hear me?
yes.
Can, but you have to
So,
open your camera.
is that necessary? I mean, alright.
Okay, go ahead.
So my name is Izhar, and currently I am studying chemical engineering. First of all, it feels such an honor, and it feels great to have someone like you to give such an inspiring talk about the oil and gas industry. So my first question is, what is different between the process engineer and production engineer? Since I seen this position a lot whenever I came across in job hunting website. And second is you already answered it, which is the question is about the expectation of oil and gas industry, how they recruit the future engineer in future, which is probably in 1 year from now, since the COVID pandemic severely impact the industry. And the last one is there any necessary to having software certificates such as AutoCAD, since the oil and gas industry we spend our time mostly on the oil rig. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, Iza, I will answer the first question first. I might be forgetting the other questions later on. You will tell me again. So for the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
question, what is the difference between process engineer and also production engineer? So production, we are taking care of the production of the wells, right? Of the oil wells. So we are not dealing with the processes. So processes engineer are usually the engineer that who oversees the operations. So the team is doing this, and then they are overseeing and they are giving advice to help them. And there are also processes that who are also taking care of the equipment, but then it's called processes engineer. So they are basically dealing with this one equipment and taking care of all the process of how is the operating, how is this when is this equipment need to maintain, when is this equipment need to inspect, when is this equipment need for preparation, or when there's any audit, they will have to prepare for all the document for this particular or for all the equipment at the offshore. So that are a little bit of what processes engineer that is doing from what I know. But then if you were to look at outside from oil and gas industry, right? Processes engineer, it can be very wide. They can take care of the entire every job that you do in the industry or in the factory. You have process, right? So they are the one that who oversees which processes that we need to eliminate, or which processes that we need to add in order for us to execute the job in a safety manner. So totally different from the production is usually at the end part, so where the oil is produced, or if you are at top glove or at the factory. Production engineer, it's the one that who QA/QC the product that is being produced by the factory. So I hope I answer your question.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And second thing is what?
Second thing, I think you already answered it, which is the question is about the expectation of oil and gas company, which is the expectation of the engineer recruitment in future, since the COVID pandemic severely impact the industry. So yeah, you
Okay.
already answered it, I guess.
Okay, good.
And the last one is what is there any requirement for us, especially the engineering student, to having software certificate such as AutoCAD, since as an petroleum engineer, we mostly spending our time in the oil rig as a production engineer. So, is there any requirement for the oil and gas company to having a certificate like that? Yeah.
Okay. So for I told you, right? For a fresh graduate, they do not expect you to know anything or to know any software. Well, in the oil and gas, AutoCAD, I'm not sure if we are using that. Probably for structure engineer that who are dealing with the structure of the platform. But I have never heard people in my upstream. Oil and gas, we have like upstream, midstream, and also downstream. Downstream is like penapisan Melaka yang you see too, where they store the oils, where they refine the oil. Whereas upstream is what I'm with. I'm production, where everything is executed at the field, and also drilling, and also reservoir teams that who are like calculating how big is the reservoir or how big is the telaga down there that is having oil. We basically don't deal with AutoCAD, and I've never heard. But always, if you have any certificate that you have, you can always put in your resume and you sell it when you go for an interview, right? And how can that AutoCAD actually benefit if you were to join in the oil and gas? Which for upstream, I don't think we will use that AutoCAD.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So I think we proceed one last question from Keith. In what manner will Industrial Revolution 4.0 impact on the landscape of the oil and gas industry?
Okay, that's very good. So now, as you can see, because of the COVID, we cannot travel. Most of the time, we are using the digital way, like how we do now, conference call, and also a lot of things that we are trying to work remotely. Last time we used to have a engineer in charge that who is working at the client office. Now no need, you put like some sensor, some devices, you are able to capture the data in the software. So this is the digital or artificial intelligence that we are moving forward to. So what I do when I was at the field as a production engineer is almost all the wells we start to put sensor for them to capture what is the temperature and also what is the pressure of that wells. So suddenly if the wells drop to zero, we know that the well suddenly died. We know that by the pressure trends, by the pressure changes, we know that the well is suddenly closed down. Not if we don't have those sensor, we will not know by if it is the old way of working, we will not will know that the wells is already dead, right? So you need a human to actually go and check the wells every day, or this well is producing. You take the sample, or this well suddenly, why is it that it's not producing? There's no sample coming out, or then only you know that the well is already dead. So we start to put sensor so that we can monitor the well production remotely, the digital way. So we are into that, and now we have a lot of cloud computing to store all the data. As you can see, one field they have hundreds and hundreds of wells. So you have a lot of data, sometimes a lot of loggings, a lot of data that you need to keep. And also we are starting to work on a cloud computing or storage already for all the data that we are acquiring, so that with that data we are able to see the trend or changes of that particular well's behavior, and that changes will help us in the future to understand, oh, if the pressure drop, it means that what happened to this well. If the pressure is rising, or what happened to this well, or temperature drop or whatnot, so on and so forth.
I see. So thank you, Miss. So we still have lots of questions here, but
You guys can
how
ask me
else?
questions.
Yeah, how else can
You
we
guys
approach you?
can follow me on my IG cempaka.l or Spice or CV. But I will be more active on my personal platform, and also I have my LinkedIn. Lim Chia Wei, you can look for me. So if you are having any questions, or sometimes I will do IG live to share about my oil and gas experience, and you can ask questions there. So you can always get connected with me on LinkedIn or on my IG.
So after this, you still have a program, Miss Cempaka, is it?
Tomorrow.
Or tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm filled with talks.
Okay. I
But
think yeah.
okay, you can ask a few questions, then we can conclude the session.
So yeah, because I'm missing out. I think there's two more questions. So from Atia, can currently studying in marine technology. In your opinion, what is the relationship between marine technology with oil and gas industry?
So marine technology, last time, if marine engineering, most of the time somebody have this boat where they are going to sail all around the world, where they think that there's potential of oil down there. So what this boat will do is this boat will sail for many months. Yeah, they are like a sailor, but they have a lot of equipment and machines actually filled with sensor that will actually they will run into the sea in order for them to check whether there is a reserve or there's oil and gas down there. But because a few years ago it's very expensive to maintain that boat. Schlumberger no longer have that department anymore. We have sold off to some other company. So marine engineering usually you can go for that, where you are gonna work with the sea. Probably you can also look like geologists. They are going to work with the rocks. What kind of rocks that actually are the characteristic of telaga minyak, for example. So that are the field or job scope that you are able to go to. So that is a very early phase of the oil and gas. You are the discovery, or you are the discoverer, explorer of the oil and gas before we even started to drill to produce the oil. I'm not sure how much it is related, like in terms of what you have studied, right? Because I have never really looked into it, but I have seen marine engineering. Usually, they are the one that who study all the marine life beneath of what is the sea, for example.
So I think this is the last one, hopefully. So
Wait. Hadi, I
Hasi.
have one more about the marine engineering. I think also, it's very important for us to not to spill any oil at the platform. And also it's very important for us to have a platform, but we do not disturb the ecosystem of the marine life. So I think also they have a marine team that is being deployed to actually study a field before they even install the platform dekat laut or dekat the sea lah.
So okay, thank you, Miss. So last question from Hasif, a second year mechanical engineering student. You mentioned early about career progression. Can you share more about what this all about, and maybe also share your current blueprint to getting there? Thank you. He wants a
Okay.
blueprint.
Well, blueprint, huh? So blueprint of Schlumberger, you can actually search online. It's actually public, like what are the principles that we are holding for. But to answer to your question about career progression is huge. But what Schlumberger do is Schlumberger promote borderless career. Borderless career, it means that, I was an intern for cementing department. It's totally a different department. And then when I joined the team, I was in production department. And then I was switched to another department, which is well intervention department. And now I'm in drilling department doing technical sales. I'm a little bit of technical and a little bit of soft skills. So, it's borderless career. And one day, if I am no longer want to be in technical, I can always request to join finance team or HR. So, um, same goes to Petronas, right? When you are a manager next time, you have to know everything. You have to be well-rounded. You have to be serba boleh. That's why it's very important for us to have multi skills. Again, I want to emphasize whatever that you do now, it's not going to be forever. That's something you are going to do forever. So it's very important for you to have a lot of skills. That's why when I'm in sales now, what I need to have is I have to be able to have communication skills, presentation skills. When I go and present some product to my client, I have to have networking skills. Yeah, agility skills that we are looking for from fresh graduates right now, being able to agile, be flexible, adaptable. Those are the skills that we are looking for currently. And career progression, like for myself, like I have a career plan. I have to do on-job training. I have to do online training. I have to go to Abu Dhabi. I have to go to France to attend training and have to pass the exam. The exam is like 75 and above. You have to pass. 75 and below is already failed. And if you have like 10 papers for that training, you have to pass 8. If you fail twice, there's no negotiation. You will be fired straight away. So because you have to really know and being able to grasp the basic principles when you go for the training, then you are able to do the job at the field later on. So all those training, all those career progression is already being lined up for Schlumberger. And also for Petronas and ExxonMobil, which they really develop their people, they also have a different way of career progression, right? Of course, that's one I'm not in the position to say because I have not worked that before, but you can always probably can have another industrial talk from an engineer from Exxon, for example. Then you will have a different pictures of how operator works again.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Miss. So now we have come to the end of our program. Thank you, Miss, for answering all the questions. It was very informative of you to answer all these questions. Thank you also to all the participants who joined this program. And hopefully everyone enjoyed this program and gained this valuable knowledge. Before we end this sharing session, I would like to ask everybody to turn on their camera for photography session.